Hello, everyone. Ian Iliona. Another day in Los Angeles, I say, because every day is the same. Every day is misery, torture, and then I try to make the best of it. I mean, some things kind of make sense, but they never really add up. Namely, our space program, which is what I want to talk about. I know that I'm a disabled American veteran with PTSD from military sexual trauma, but the space program in America kind of sucks because they refuse to use light-based technology. They refuse to understand the basic concept of you don't put organic life forms into space unless they're seeds. You could grow in a giant greenhouse in space or on another planet. But the idea of sending people into space is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous because the amount of environmental control that you need for most astronauts is what we need on Earth now for everyone. Everyone should be living like an astronaut. Why? Because the air is bad here. I had several PTSD triggers today. I have to go through that whole rigmarole of what happened. But I'm going to just skip ahead to the end of the day for me, where trying to get back into my room, some woman was going through her truck. She had a very, very, very large truck. And she left the engine running. But the engine is running, and it's another one of those trucks with the sideways tailpipe. So, in order to get into this building, I'm just being sprayed with car exhaust, petrol, lubricating oil, all of that, just all in my face. And this person doesn't care. This person doesn't give a shit. They're just, what? I left my car running. I'm already parked. I mean, it's not like I'm going anywhere. But the fact is, she was parked. She was parked. And yet her engine is on and she's just going through her car, like, I don't know, like looking for something, but she left her engine on. And that's why I cannot stand living in America, because people who do that don't think, God damn, I'm poisoning people. I'm literally poisoning people. In a court of law, you should be able to put these people in a courtroom. You should be able to sue. You should be able to sue Americans for the level of pollution that they create. That affects your health, that affects the health of everyone. Because that's the only thing they understand. They understand when you get litigious, when you just complain on YouTube and in Twitch, it doesn't really do much. But here I am. I'm determined to talk about environmental issues and to talk about a space program because they're connected. People keep talking about global warming. I say that it's more likely to have an ice age. It's more likely to have an ice age than continued global warming. Why? Because when you remove the pursuit of capitalist greed from people, you have this amazing ability to start focusing on yourself, maybe downsizing some of the things that you do, go to a cinema. And of course, you say, if I'm going to be staring at Chris Hemsworth on the screen, I want to be able to enjoy that with some food, and they charge you for it and you don't think anything of it, but they're charging you for something that you could do in your own kitchen. And most of the time you could do it better. I've had a nice thing of when I travel, I make sure to at least sample the local cinema's food from the concession stand. But I haven't been able to do that lately. I didn't do that in Seattle, and I'm so miffed about it because it was the one thing that I could have done. And I didn't do it. Like, I feel stupid. Oh well. I thought things were going to go differently, but instead of Canada opening its borders to me, they gave me a lecture about, rightly so, rightly so. I can't disagree with what the man was saying. He wanted to lecture me on how ICE is behaving. I get it, dude. I get it. I get it. It's my country. I have to take responsibility for their actions, how it looks, because when you're a citizen in your country, everything the country does reflects on you. You can never really say that was someone else, but it's hard. It's hard to get political when no one really listens. And I do my podcast, I do my part, but it's not that easy. Okay, before I'm too rude about it, I don't know how this thing functions. I don't know. So I'm going to see if I can pull up the chat if there's anyone here. I don't know if there is, but doesn't make sense to not even try and look. Say, go into my own channel. Here I am. Okay, so there's my chat there. I don't know if anybody's on X. Let me check. Nope. No one so far, but that's fine. Look, if I expected to be popular, that would be one thing, but I don't. What I expect is maybe a path for myself. I don't know how I'm supposed to find this path, this magical path that I'm going to walk down, but I've had it. I've literally had it with America and its manipulation, constant manipulation. Just getting breakfast is a political maneuver to harass me. That's how it feels. It feels that way. I have PTSD from military sexual trauma, so I, on the one hand, I do have issues where people mysteriously bother me, but then I have issues where it's just regular people going about the day and I'm bothered. And it's very difficult as a veteran to know the difference because sometimes it feels like one, but it could be the other. So I always have to err on the side of caution of, do I want to have a public freak out or not? Sometimes I can't control it. I mean, that's when you have PTSD. You can't control your public freakouts, but you can stay present in the moment long enough to be able to say, there's a difference between what happened in breakfast today, where I wanted to go get a waffle, and this woman was just by the counter going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then she turns around to try and engage me in conversation to find out which direction I wanted to go. And all I wanted her to do was just sit the fuck down so I could go and get my stuff. That didn't happen. To their credit, no one has talked to me. No one has bothered me, except one woman who I swear she was drunk. She came into the lobby and she was like, "Oh, all the time, American." And I just walked past her. I didn't say anything snarky. I didn't say anything rude because, look, this is what happens when you have service animals. The service animals perform a task for you, but Americans are always of the mindset of dogs are public property. They don't understand what it means to be a handicapped person and to have an animal and say, I need this animal to navigate things. I need this animal also in some ways to slow me down because I would rather run in the opposite direction, most likely into traffic, in order to get away from a bad situation. And with the service animal, look, they can't do much, but they can guide me and they can be there when, well, I mean, quite frankly, no human's going to fucking put up with this and say, oh, I'll take care of that. You see, that's the thing I dislike about my country. Your wife or your husband is supposed to be there to take care of your sickness and in health and all that. I have PTSD from military sexual trauma, so good luck finding romance. Good luck. Number one, because of the level of PTSD that I have to walk around as ugly as fucking possible. Because if I try to make myself look nice, as I did right before I was trying to perform that one time, and this woman would not leave me alone. It's on my YouTube channel. She lunged toward me. I have a thing where women just try and lunge toward me, or every time I'm going back into my room, there's just females milling about. Never is it like a football star or someone who does American football or a rugby player with, a really flexible back. Just any of those things. Nope. Never, never, never. Except for today, where coming into the lobby, I passed by what I can only assume is old McDonald had some abs because that guy was so fucking hot, so fucking cute. I mean, if I had any self confidence left after being a victim of continual psychological torment, I would have said hello and just walked by or anything. But my mindset with all my PTSD, don't even bother. Don't try, don't recognize that deep down, as hard as I try and fight, I don't exactly want to be alone. I don't exactly want to be alone. I do want to be alone, but the idea that because of my PTSD, I never talk to guys whatsoever. And anytime I try to do it online, the mysterious thing of the internet just cuts the connection or it never goes any further than that. Of course, every time that I do a podcast about my crippling PTSD, I'm sure that doesn't exactly sell them on romance. But that's the situation. That's who I am right now. I don't know. I want to get to a point where I can just say, I don't have a lot of women in my life, but the women that I do have in my life, they understand. You don't touch me. You don't put your arms around me. You don't make lewd comments. You don't do any of that. That's all. I think I'm pretty reasonable as a PTSD suffering victim of American government torture, but does that ever happen? No, no, no. Either they put their arm around me, or they grope me, or they do even worse. They send their fucking kids to bother me. I don't know. Maybe it's an American thing where they put the leashes on the dogs and not the fucking brats that fumbled out their fucking pussies, but whatever. You can tell how fucking bitter I am that some kid decided to try and touch my service animal. It's getting to the point that I don't even know. The whole point of a service animal is you go and do things that you couldn't do before, but now you have an accommodation in order to enable you to do things. And now I'm in a position of, well, what can I do? I mean, I can't enjoy anything anymore. I can't enjoy going to a restaurant because what happened today of, oh, you're going this way? Oh, you're going that way? Oh, which way are you going? Oh, oh. I don't want to deal with. I don't want to deal with that. I mean, the alternative that any sensible person would say is, well, cook your own fucking meals or have them delivered. And I would say I would have done that if it hadn't been for the goddamn American government sending a woman. And I'm sorry, you can spin this any way that you want, but the woman came to the back of the train to put her arm around me in the disabled section. Amtrak still hasn't gotten back to me with a credible police report or anything. Was there a crime committed? No, there wasn't a crime committed. It's just creepy as fuck, and it's menacing, and it's most likely government sponsored. So I'm sorry. In the history of white people, have you ever seen a white woman go to the back of the fucking vehicle to put her arm around a stranger, let alone one of color? No, I don't think so. Never happened. Never happens in the history of everything. Not unless, like, you really knew the person or you kind of saw them at the library or uni or something. You had some tangible connection. No, 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 no. This was a targeted attack against me because I have PTSD from military sexual trauma. You can't dissuade me anything else because the idea that you would reach around me to call the fucking train attendant when the train attendant button is in every fucking seat. She could have gone to the white woman across from her and said, "Excuse me, I don't feel well." Push and done that. But no, no, no. She came up to me to do that. To me. Now, luck of the draw, whatever. If it's an emergency, if it's truly an emergency, I can't really say anything really, but I'm still going to. I'm still going to because of her stanky out attitude. I got stuck in Seattle. I paid for a hotel and I'm still waiting to get reimbursed from that. I'm still waiting. And because of that whole situation, I am stuck going to the fucking hotel breakfast and going, "Oh, which way? Which way?" Really, really. Because there's this thing that's going on right now with veterans where the American government is pretty much saying you know what, you veterans, we got to put you on the leash. We got to put you on the leash. And as a veteran, I say, number one, you crippled me. I'm a cripple. Um, I'm so psychologically devastated, just devastated by what they've done. But now you want to put me on a leash because they want to hire people to be guardians to veterans. Now, in several cases, I almost understand where they're coming from. I have to because I understand that my PTSD is not the same for other people. My PTSD is I freak out and then I end up alone. And eventually, it might take hours or maybe a couple of days, I might get better. But for the most part, I'm not drinking myself into oblivion. Not a lot of veterans can say that. A lot of veterans, they have to deal with alcoholism, drug abuse. They got to deal with constant hospital visits. It's a lot. It's a lot. And they need people to advocate for them, a lot of things properly. I get it. And as a homeless veteran, I am a homeless veteran. I can understand where they're coming from. I just don't like the way they are going about it. I don't like the way they are going about it because what they're trying to say, in a way, is if you're a homeless veteran, we just want to take and control your money. We'll make sure that you have rent and food and things like that. But what about your discretion to pay for other things? I am a very, very open person. I talk constantly about porn. I con. I am terrible at English. I'm sorry. It's the worst language for me. I talk about, the Sayangle .com, Men Network, just Latin Leche, just like all these great, great sites that I contribute to because I want to see things in high quality and not squint while I'm jacking it. So to me, that's a necessary thing because I'm not dating. Because of my PTSD, and I'm sorry, that there is no monetary value that you could assign properly to with the amount of PTSD that I have to deal with, and women just go, which way? Which way? I just have such low libido. It sucks all the testosterone out of me. It doesn't help the fact that I'm not eating properly. If I was eating properly, I would have been able to maybe retain some of my testosterone, which I spend mostly on my beard. But there is no sex surrogacy program. The Department of Veteran Affairs is not handing out fleshlights. It's not doing anything because nobody ever asked. If people ask, maybe you would get somewhere. Where if people ask for things, if people say, hey, I need adaptations to my house, or I need adaptations to my life, I need adaptations to the city. I try to speak to the Commission on Human Rights here for Washington, and they're so fucking backlogged. I couldn't get through to anyone. But the idea that a lot of these private companies that operate in the state of Washington aren't aware of service animals, aren't aware of what they need to do. in order to make proper accommodations. Case in point, and yeah, I know I harp on the fact that I really hate kids, but I'm out shopping with my dogs, my lovely service animals. I just need to pick up some dog food. Now, I could have had that, I guess, delivered, and it might have been cheaper, might have been, but they were hungry now, and I was like, there's stores. I have service animals that can enter a store. Let me use what I have to get stuff done. And besides, I need a walk anyway. They need a walk, I need a walk. It's a win-win situation. This is why I hate this pressure that America puts me under to just be a homebody where it's we don't stress you out anymore, dude. You know, look, there's no woman trying to jump out and scare you anymore. It'll be okay. Just stay inside and we won't bother you. I'm not fucking 70. I'm getting there. But I want to go for a walk too. I want to go for a walk. I want to enjoy my life, enjoy my body, enjoy just living in general. And yeah, some of the stuff is kind of bullshit because you end up spending way too much money. But some of it is just enjoy your own autonomy. You have a right to your own autonomy. Your autonomy might be more expensive and in some ways more destructive. That's a different conversation, but I still err on the side of you have a right to your own autonomy. And here comes the Department of Veteran Affairs saying, we want to take control of your money. My thing is, where was the control of my money and things in the situation where I was living in East Los Angeles and I had women trying to break into my apartment? Now, I know. PTSD, military sexual trauma, all women are out to get me. Fucking broken record. I say it every day. But when you have to call the police because a woman is trying to break into your apartment, that's very, very different. And it's kind of not sexual, but it is in a way. So either way, the police had to come for that. And what should have happened is the Department of Veteran Affairs, because I did tell them every single time, they should have said to me, okay, well, we pay for your lease. We control your money that way. We pay for your lease. The lease already has clauses that if you have a police report because you feel like you're being stalked or harassed or anything, you can leave. You can leave. But the Department of Veteran Affairs didn't do any of that. They didn't care. They just took that as, oh, well, I guess that's just more evidence for you. More evidence. So here I am, disabled veteran, and I'm struggling. I'm struggling in a way that it's hard to know the right path. It's hard to know the right path for me because every single time that they do this, they're trying to knock me off course. So I don't talk about Mars. I don't talk about our space program. I don't talk about public health and food safety in America. And the idea that we need to elevate our standards in nearly everything, including city planning. These roads that we have are killing us. They cause accidents, they pollute the air, they stress you out, lead to road rage, fuck it, I can't say that word, motorway rage, whatever. Either way, it makes you think, what if we built fresh towns in America to reflect all of this? Why is it that every environmentalist moves to a big fucking city and they're like, God damn those fucking polluting trucks, God damn them, instead of saying, you know, this is patch of dirt, like right over there. Nobody's on it. There's no cars, nothing. It's a dirt road. Like I could totally live there, invite other people, say, hey, you live there too. And we could just say, fuck it, no more roads. I keep trying to get that started, but no one wants to listen. Nobody wants to. I mean, yeah, I kind of included that caveat that I wanted more of a monastery vibe where it is just for gay streamers. But that's not exactly how housing works. So it makes it slightly difficult unless it's a clubhouse and private property, and then I can fuck you out of that. Sorry. But yeah, it doesn't exactly seem like that's going to be a viable option because I kind of want to be housed. I don't really want to be housed, but when this keeps happening every single time, and I still cannot get over the last time I was in a motel and they gave me a hotel room with a broken bathroom so that they had an excuse to trespass into my room in order to repair it. And I say it like that because while I am trying to talk to the front desk attendant and tell them, hey, your shitter is not flushing, whatever, they're like, oh, okay. And then just pretty much opened the door. And by the time I got there, they were already in there. Now, some people would say, oh, well, they're super fast. Look how thorough they are. Oh my God. I mean, I'd love to have someone care that much. All I can think is, you entered my place and I know that that's like a minute, but in that minute, are you going through my stuff? Are you going through my things? Are you taking pictures of my stuff? What the fuck are you doing? And then in the hotel, even before that, like I'm trying to get my luggage down and it's supposed to be sent all the way down, but then it gets stuck in the elevator because someone called the elevator at the same exact time. It was one of those huge things, but either way, I'm left with now. I got to search through everything because I just don't trust Americans. I just don't trust them. I mean, I shouldn't really trust a foreign nation either, but there's a big difference between you go to a foreign nation, most likely with nothing. I mean, you got your passport, maybe a couple of bills on you, and local currency, but that's it. You, I'm I'm just miserable. I'm just miserable living in America when I know there's a whole world out there. There's a whole world out there, and there are villages in Ireland and Scotland where there are cars, but people walk. People enjoy the whole idea of locomotion. They they don't even consider it a hindrance to have to walk on 2 feet. Do they get mail and deliveries? They do, but yeah, they make do. They jar, they pickle, they do a lot of things. They're not so fucking dependent upon ruining their own health. Because true health is not having to go to the doctor because you spend most of your time healthy. This is why I'm so against this guardianship or whatever nonsense, because all of this pressure to be housed, be homed, or whatever is just really saying, can we take away your health? Can we take away your health? Even a person in a wheelchair that wheels their way to a local park or a local restaurant is more healthy than the poor person in a wheelchair that just says, you know, I'll just get it delivered. I'll just get it delivered. Is it easier? Is it less stressful? Of course. But is that what your body needs? No, no. Your body needs to be able to move about, and unless you have your own home gym, which at this point I'm kind of looking at, you're not getting your exercise. I barely get any exercise because I'm so traumatized that all my brain can do is say, I'm exhausted. I had to do, oh, which way? Fuck that shit. Fuck that shit. Like, really? Any excuse. And honestly, to my credit, I didn't scream at this woman. I almost screamed at a bunch of kids for taking too long making the waffles. I stared daggers at them, daggers, because I'm of the mindset of, look, one person per hotel breakfast bar at a time, at a time. Like, if you can wait your turn, wait your turn. I'm a grown adult. I didn't throw ACV, at least not too much. I did throw a ball. I'm not. I'm not proud of that, but I was fucking hungry. I was fucking hungry. So yeah, yeah. And yeah, the alternative is cook your damn meals or have them delivered or go to a restaurant. And normally that wouldn't have been an issue if America didn't decide, no, 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 no. You were trying to move around this country. You were trying to see the whole country. You're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to do that. Boy, you stay right here. And so they fucking derailed me in the middle of Washington state. So I'm fucking stuck in it. Well, not really, but kind of, yeah. I guess that's the best way to put that. I mean, there are always options. I just don't like those options. I preferred what I had, even though it was imperfect. But it was imperfect because these people weren't ADA compliant. If they were ADA compliant, they would have had someone there that would have said, Miss, do you need help? Do you need help? Let me help you. Don't bother the fucking disabled person sitting down. Cool, cool. Let me help you then. That should have happened. And in America and in this business, that didn't happen, which makes me think, what is going on with the ADA? What in the world is going on with human rights where that was okay for this woman to harass me there? I cannot let this go. I mean, is Washington state the ugliest state I've ever seen? No, it isn't. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful here. It's gorgeous. The most gorgeous state I've ever been in, next to Oregon, which I didn't really say that much of. But yeah, it's gorgeous here. Gorgeous. Gorgeous forever. I know. Gorgeous in winter. Oh my god. The things. I don't know. As I said, to their credit, except for that, people ignore me. People see me disabled, wrapped up, because at least I'm aware of the fact that this place will give you skin cancer, even worse than California. Yeah, yeah. So there's that. Be housed. Be housed. That's that's what I'm dealing with. I mean, I guess a year of with very, very little communication or controlled communication, I could maybe recuperate, maybe put a gym in the backyard or something. I don't know. I just don't know if that's the life for me because I'm still trying to to start my space program, Mars now, because going beyond space travel, we need habitation today, today, today. People go through life thinking, I have a house, I have an apartment, I have an RV, instead of saying, no, you have a direct line to suffocation. You have a direct line to disease. You have a direct line to crime. Oh, and yeah, just the misery of being devoid of purpose or anyone on your level. We don't have to live that way. We don't. We could start brand new towns because there are whole swaths of America where nobody lives. The land is there. The land is probably cheap. It's not free, but the land is cheap. And you could say, fuck it, I can find a friend, find two friends. And I guess that's kind of the point of maybe living in an area. Maybe you make a friend where you could say, won't you be my neighbor or won't you be my fucking roommate? Although preferably just a neighbor because I need a greenhouse to grow begonias and carrots and pumpkins and all these lovely things that I want to try. I want to be a farmer more than I want to be a pop star. And I guess that comes through. I want to be a farmer more than anything. But I don't know if that's enough in America anymore. We keep polluting the atmosphere, we keep polluting the water, we could pollute the soil that we grow things in, or we grow things in contaminated soil and say, oh, your avocado's got some lead in it, 50% off. Instead of saying, why are you giving us avocados with lead in it? Why are you giving us garlic with cadmium in it? Because these farms, the FDA, they don't say, dude, my bad. I'm so sorry. We'll get right on that. It's no, no. I mean, you did buy it, so you assume the risk. It might give you cancer later on in life. Why? Why do we just accept things in America? Maybe it's because I'm a first generation American. I actually had parents who maybe saw a different life, maybe spoke about it, maybe didn't, but at least lived their life free enough that you could say, I guess there is another way to live. And maybe America would benefit from solid nutrition that doesn't give you cancer. I could be FDA, like maybe do something about that. Or is it up to the disabled veteran to fight this fight for you? In addition to having to deal with PTSD and military sexual trauma and just the overly friendly nature of the female species. I say this because not every PTSD encounter is the same. I still have yet to release the footage of one of the major ones that I had like a really, really shite day. Just really, really terrible day. I was so fucking down and just in pain and just miserable that day. And I'd gone to the downtown of the town, and I'm miserable. I'm miserable. And some woman tries to talk to me. She's like, "Oh, did you teach the dog that?" Because my dogs are in formation. Thank you, Beyonce. And I say, "No, thank you." And she's like, I don't want to buy anything from you. And I said, "No, thank you." And she's like, "Oh, you don't want conversation." No shit. No shit, Sherlock there. Young Sherlock there. Thank you, Amazon. No, I really don't. There's a time and a space for conversation, and just I'm not looking to chat someone up on the bus or the train. There was a time when you could do that. There was a time when there was a certain level of civility. Yeah, there was racism. There was a there was a whole bit of racism there, and I don't think that really has gone away. But there was a time where maybe okay, at least within your own race, you would at least say, "Hello, good morning. Oh, let me talk your ear off about, the latest gossip about the town." And that's what you did because people live there. People didn't move there. There weren't new people. There weren't homeless people. There weren't tramps for the most part. I mean, I'm a homeless person. Well, I guess I am the lady and the tramp there. But either way, there wasn't a sense of danger and dread that you get normally talking to strangers. I've been sexually assaulted on a bus in America, sexually harassed on the bus constantly in America. I can draw on a different experience than other people. So when this woman comes sauntering up to me and is just like, we're gonna be the best friends for life. I'm like, no, you aren't. You aren't. Okay, I'm sorry. It's already been ruined. It's ruined for me forever, forever. I cannot look at women the same way, and it sucks because I grew up on Xena. I grew up on crossing Jordan. I grew up in all of these things that showed me women are smart, women are talented, they're beautiful, the kind of things that you want to have in your life because men are imperfect creatures. I could just leave it at that. I'm speaking as one. I'll just leave it at that. Men are imperfect creatures. But women, in some cases, they get their shit together and they're fine. You look at something like Scandal and Kerry Washington's portrayal of the Olivia Pope. That woman was promiscuous. That woman drank heavily, but she was competent at her job and she didn't harass people in the kind of way that I'm being harassed. So, I mean, yeah, it's technically a fictional character, whatever, but it's the example that I have to go off of because I don't know anyone personally besides my own family where it was, yeah, you know your limits. You know that you don't put your hands on or put your arms around a stranger unless somebody requested it. If somebody requests it or someone says, well, I was going to put my arm around you and you were feeling a vibe there, it's just like, okay, well, you feel that out in your own way. And then you establish boundaries throughout. And there are ways to go about that. And there are ways to do that. I get it. Not everyone is the same. I mean, you can't exactly go through your life thinking that everyone is fucking fragile, or else how would you ever fucking talk to people? I'm not an idiot, but at the same exact time, if it's in a public situation where you don't know anybody there and they don't know you, I'm sorry, stranger danger, and I leave it at that. I'm not going to take it any further than a polite no thank you, and that's it. Have a nice day, no thank you. But she took it as, oh, you don't want conversation. I'm like, do you want me to charge you by the hour? Because we can go that route. If you want someone to talk to, I will charge you by the minute. Let me get the cards. I'll tell you your love life and your future. Let me read those paths. I don't know. I don't know. But she turned to. I keep going over this story, but look, this is what happens when you're a disabled veteran. You just relive torture, relive torment, because there is no resolution until you change, and until you change, because you can't expect other people to change. You can't expect them to be sympathetic. But she turned to a guy that was next to her and was like, finally, finally, someone will listen. Because then she could talk about me and say, I don't understand. It's just like, he wouldn't talk to me. It's like, the guy said, well, he wouldn't talk to me either. I'm like, dude, you are fucking covered in tattoos and you look kind of shady right now. And this isn't a situation where you're in a bar and you're shady looking, and I'm like, you're in the bar and you're shady looking, and I can buy you a drink and we can have a conversation there. It's no, you're in a public place and I don't know what's going to happen if I talk to you. And number one, I really don't want to talk to you because if my accent comes out, and I already had a big thing about it because I sometimes when I say the words come out a bit different in a way because it's a different language. So I just don't want to be targeted for it. So I try to speak as little English as possible because you speak a different language. The Americans' eyes, they go like these giant fucking saucers. So no, I try to avoid speaking to the locals if I can. And I should feel like upset or anything like that. It's more of that was just validation of just how fucking thirsty Americans are. Not for my dick, not for my prick, not for my penis, but just for fucking attention. That she couldn't just let me board a bus and say, "Bye-bye." I couldn't do that. I had to have a conversation with the stranger for fucking what? For fucking what? Because I'm not getting paid for it. I mean, look, I'm not a celebrity because celebrities are harassed constantly, but then they're paid quite a bit. So cry me a river if you're a celebrity. You can hire security. You can demand to have sidewalks and streets shut down. It may not happen, but you can demand that. I can't do that as just some disabled veteran and say, no, the madam may not speak to me. You wish you could say that. I wish I could say that often. But no, I could probably say that on set, but which just goes to my they PTSD me. I don't even know if that's a verb, but I'm gonna just say it anyway. They traumatized me. Let's say that. Yay, English. They traumatized it to the point that that pathway of being a musician, being an actor, being someone who fucking tap dances and Irish steps. And I I can't use any of it. What the fuck? What the ever living fuck? I can't use any of this. I mean, I could use it for fucking fitness, but I mean, I can't be in a fucking musical set in Ireland. Hopefully, hopefully set in Ireland. Well, I'm a dancer, a street dancer, and I find a fair maiden who's just broken up with her boyfriend and doesn't know what she's going to do with her life, and then I teach her Irish step, and by the end of it, we're madly in love, and roll credits and everything. I can't do that because I have PTSD, and the idea of doing a movie or something like that, it's just way too stressful. It's stressful for them already, and they have to deal with so much. I I never really thought about it growing up, about what it means to be a celebrity, what it means to be talented, what it means to be different. Everyone keeps talking about the NVIDIA DLS S5 and how it's justification of all of these characters. And one person was looking at Resident Evil Requiem. Requiem. I got it right. Okay, good. Spot on. Clap myself on the back for that one. And they say, "Oh my God, she doesn't even look like she belongs in that world anymore. Look what they did to her." And it's just, do you hear the words coming out of your American mouth? Do you hear them? She doesn't look like she belongs in that world anymore. The world is filled with zombies. She doesn't belong in that world. She's human. She doesn't belong in that world. At least NVIDIA, which is why I'm so proud of NVIDIA for just saying, ha ha ha, fuck you, without saying fuck you, by saying, look, we did what we did and we'll suffer the fucking backlash, but guaranteed every single one of you are going to go back to your computers and be like, turn the DLSS back on. I need to see the yassification of this white woman. I need to see yassification. I mean, I can't go back now. You see, this is the truth. This is the truth that these Americans always fucking do this bullshit on. When it came to Horizon Zero Dawn, which I'm still trying to get through, they were like, oh my God, you made Aloy too pretty. Like, she was supposed to be this Neolithic person. Like, why isn't she more ugly? Why isn't she more ugly? She's supposed to be ugly. It's just like, no, no. I mean, number one, you want to sell some consoles, and two, it's a way to tell you without telling you that there's something going on with our species, our people, our society, that we're beginning to separate. Some of us are becoming zombies. They made that left turn toward, that's right, I'll pay for the subscription. Oh, do I get Hulu too? Oh, and that's their life. They go to a job that they hate. They eat food with the family that they tolerate. And then they turn on the screen, and the screen takes hours out of their life. And then they always say, oh, but there's another series just like it. I know you just finished this one, but there's another one. Or, oh my God, remember that classic show? Oh my God. Well, we have it. So you want to watch that too? Oh, of course, of course. You already paid for it. I mean, it's right there. And most Americans say, well, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Zombies. Zombies. Am I for entertainment? Am I for cinema? Yes, in a way. In a way. Because if you consume cinema consume entertainment and you learn something and then you apply that lesson to your life and it makes it better, then that was what it was for. But if you just consume it and you don't do anything with it and it just passes over your head, you're like, nah, I mean, Game of Thrones is dragons and White Walkers. Not Game of Thrones was about how difficult it is to be a leader, how difficult it is to keep your family safe, how difficult it is to go out at night. I love how they take a show like that and they say, for the night is dark and full of terrors. And you're like, I repeat that shit, Red Woman. You crazy. Oh, the night is dark and full of terrors. What does that mean, girl? What does that mean? You don't go, she's got a point. There's that person who took a walk up the road and they never came back. There's a person who left the window open. A whole family killed. This happens in your country. Happens. And we just say, the night is dark and full of terrors. I can put them on a t-shirt. Look at me. We don't take it as, yeah, cinema is trying to tell you the world is a scary place. But we don't do anything about it. We don't try to make it better. We don't try and change it, which is why some of us just become zombies, because when you're a zombie and your brain is being digested by the internet, by social media, by the television itself, I guess you just stop caring because you're not really alive anymore. I say this as harshly as possible because I'm a gamer. And when I hear she doesn't belong in the universe anymore, she just looks so fucking pretty. It's, if that girl was smart enough to learn how to moisturize her ashy skin, if that girl was smart enough to put on some makeup, if that girl was smart enough to eat a kale sandwich or drink a kale smoothie, maybe she doesn't belong in the same world as zombies trying to eat your brain or do something terrible to you. And maybe by increasing the graphic fidelity and that uncanny valley of, is it real or is it not real? It should snap you out of it and say, when you see things like that, you should be awake. You should be aware and say, that's a person who isn't as plugged into the system. They think they might be plugged into the system, but they're not as plugged in as they probably think. All these social media influencers, all these people who do podcasts like this were both plugged into the system and out of it at the same exact time. Hogwarts Legacy, which I'm currently playing, because it's kind of funny as a magician to be playing a game about magic, but I like the irony of that. The light, the shadows that they use, the way that they are rearranging the textures, it's bringing things into reality. Someone said, "Oh, you made them look older." It's always been that case. What do you think the goddamn game is trying to say when they say, "Oh, look, it's a fifth year joining Hogwarts"? It's a. I have to just pull back the curtain for I don't know who watches these videos. Somebody does. But either way, let me pull it back for you. What they're trying to say is that is an older person who discovers either Hollywood magic or real magic. You look at something like my favorite television series of all time, Veronica Mars, and all these people who are on it, they're like, I'm playing a teenager. Like, of course, of course. But you look a little closer and you're like, aren't you like late 20s, late 30s, 40, 40? No tea, no shade against that cast, but you were long in the tooth trying to play a teenager. And we said, okay, because you were funny, snarky, and we enjoyed it. But we could go to your Wikipedia, your IMDb page, and your birthday is like right there. Now it's cute. It's cute to think of Harry Potter as Daniel Radcliffe being a child cast into this fictional thing. But in reality, most children that grow up, they play Nintendo Switch, they play Pokemon. They don't learn how to brew potions. It's not something that they teach most kids, unless you're homeschooled. Then you might learn these things. But for the most part, no. No. And even the Hollywood magic part, no. Kids learn, you play with Lego, you play with Barbie. They don't learn how to summon things. They don't learn charms or enchantments. Should they learn these things? Yeah. So when you see the shadows and the lights and I don't know, I will just say it this way, an old woman who learned how to apply moisturizer. It makes sense in a way. It makes sense because by the time that person most likely learn their magic either through government, military, or real magic, or Hollywood, or which is one of, or maybe more of all of those, you're older. At least it's being honest about it. But people don't think that way. I mean, they're all ragging on NVIDIA instead of saying NVIDIA is just telling you the truth. And they say, oh, well, you're departing from the game developer's original vision. I saw, I don't know the name of this game. I'm going to butcher the fucking name of the game, but it was like Zara or something like that. It was something Middle Eastern. I know. But anyway, the original game texture for this man's face was just a big old smile and everything, no light, no shadows or anything. He just looked like he was just perpetually happy. And then NVIDIA just went through the whole thing and then restructured it, and it gave him more dimensions to his face, more realism. Because then you saw a little bit closer and it's just, no, he wasn't smiling. Do you need a video game character to be grinning at you to make it more immersive for you? Really? I don't know. I like Bethesda, I really do. But Starfield, just let Nvidia take the win for that one. Take the fucking win because of Sarah. Sarah's texture in that game, I couldn't look at her. That face was a hard thing to fucking look at. Now, understandably, in a way, they were trying to say she's there for the science and the adventure, and just, you know, you got other options. You got other options. She's supposed to be your fucking coworker. I respect that too. I respect that too. But if I have the option, it's like, could I look at something that doesn't make me want to fucking run out the airlock? Because she smiled or tried to talk to me for us. It's like, can I talk to you about constellation? It's like, yeah, you can talk to this air as it's hissing out as I run out the fucking airlock. It's fucking Shrek I'm looking at. She's just fugly, fugly Sarah. And is nothing against the voice actress. She did her job. She did her job. I just can't see your model. Nvidia came along. It's like, you only have so much to work with, but here's something. And I said, thank God, Nvidia. Thank God for what you've done. My word. Let Nvidia fucking have this as a win. I'm the one person who says, you're complaining now, but I know for a fact every single one of you are going to turn this back on. Except I do have to talk about the FIFA. Yeah, because they did some strange things with physics that I almost want to say it's a bit too forward thinking, a bit too, yeah. Yeah, I guess that's the best way to put it. It's a bit too forward thinking for most casual consumers of their art. Number one, they got football players with jiggle physics, because deep down, I don't think we ever really thought of them as humans. I mean, yeah, they're computer generated images, but we didn't think, well, gee, you know, do you not have skin? Do you not have visceral fat? Do you not have anything? Because now NVIDIA has the ability to now render that. Render that. So when you run and when you dart from side to side, you get to see the movement underneath the clothes of this body's movement as it's trying to juggle physics as it's running. That is so forward thinking, because people don't realize that that is what is happening to your own body when you decide to accelerate and you're a fat fuck. It's like you don't look like the T2 running down the highway. You look like fat bastard jiggling and vibrating at the same exact time. It's not a pretty sight. I try to keep my shirt on as much as I can, and then when I can, I just say, well, enjoy the yassification of my jiggly body. But that's true. That's true. That's life. And NVIDIA is just trying to show that to you. Show you. I have to do a longer video on NVIDIA and just the defense of NVIDIA against, what can I say? Just a, a steam train of all these people who are just like, yes, it's so fucking terrible. It's so fucking terrible. Then you turn the camera off and then you're going to be playing it. just that way. You're like, I cannot go backwards. I have seen better lighting. I have seen better textures. And also, it just makes sense in a way. There was a time when Biohazard, the Resident Evil franchise, was held back by the hardware. If you play the first Resident Evil, you see what that means. You know, they had, and in a way, I guess it's kind of a metaphor. They have the members of Stars look as just low res polygons, and they're up against zombies. And now, further down, further down, they're not so low res anymore. They're not as one dimensional as they were before. They're not that unrealistic. She doesn't belong in that universe. Well, neither do you. If you're being honest, you don't belong in that universe either. You play video games, but then you talk about it on a higher cerebral level than most of the people who play those video games. You're not the same people. And yet you were judging NVIDIA for trying to say, wake up, people. Every time you decide to take care of yourself, pour moisturizer on, put makeup on, go to the gym, all these things, in a way, it plugs you into a system, but it also pulls you out. Pulls you out, pulls your children, if you have children, out, sets you on a completely different path. I talk about cancer all the fucking time. But what I don't talk about is there are so many people who are coming to the awakening that you don't have to eat bad food if you don't have to. And you don't have to say, I'm so poor, I can never afford actual nutrition. Or I'm so robbed of time that I couldn't work out at all. Some people are having that awakening. And when they have that awakening inside of them, they awaken other people. They get on Instagram, they get on Meta, and they say, look at my fucking body now. I'm hotness. And that inspires someone else to say, well, fuck, if they could do it, then I can do it. And that person really was a fat fuck. I mean, look at him. You can actually see his penis now. I can guarantee it. You can touch his toes. He could probably suck himself off. He's so fucking fit. But either way, you inspire people. You pull them out of the system. So NVIDIA, in a way, is trying to say, when you see people like this, they're not zombies. They might be in some fucking cyclic behavior and like one bad day from becoming a zombie or something else. But do you see the comparison, the root? If that character doesn't belong in that universe, then do you? If you're really being honest with yourself, you talk about the DLSS 5, but don't you have that in your own way? Your own way. What you do with your life, maybe the nutrition that you enjoy, or maybe just an attitude about intermittent fasting, or maybe reading a book. But all these little things that aren't graphical overhauls in some cases, but it changes the engine of your life. Is all of it perfect? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But does it make you think? Because it made me think. I have to keep on thinking. I have to figure out what I really, really want out of life. And what I want out of life is to protect my country, my people, even though I still hate you. I still hate all of you. And I will hate you forever. But in a way, I still pity you. So my lot in life is to just pull people out of a burning fire. I'm just a fireman. Not a hero, just a person who wants to stop my people from burning to death in forest fires or any other thing. So I'm going to continue talking about my space program, talking about brand new towns in America, because for every news reporter that scares you and tells you, there's a crime in your quiet town, I'm going to say, well, why don't you try a brand new town? Maybe a town that learned from everything else that was going on and said, we need to try something different. We need to advance, go into the future, as opposed to the stagnation which has just gripped our country. The moment we decide to just build brand new towns based on what we've learned, that's the moment where we might be able to just breathe freely again. We might be able to just see a future that may be peaceful. Peaceful, not peace, but peaceful. I just want to ask, why why do my people have to suffer so much when they don't have to? Anything they want, anything they need, they can start over. And I guess that's the whole point of these graphical upgrades, is to say whatever you start with doesn't mean that's how you finish. It doesn't mean that, that's how you have to stay. You can always tweak, you can always adjust, you can always grow. Look at things like Oblivion Remastered, Final Fantasy VII Remastered, remake. Sorry, got to be clear about that. It's a remake. Some things will remain the same, but some things are kind of different too. And maybe different might be better. At this point, we need to at least entertain the possibility that the way we've going about it is not who we are anymore. We have a president, we have governors, we have mayors, but who are we? Do we even live our lives, the majority of our lives, in our towns, in our cities, in our states, in our countries? Or are we more super local or hyper global? Or maybe even galactic? When I talk about this space program, which I'm trying to get off the fucking ground, I'm talking about a galactic civilization, a civilization that says, well, fuck it. What world are we fighting over? These wars that we have. Why are we doing this to ourselves? When we could just say, there's a whole planet where there's none of that going on. Whole planet. None of that's going on. The moon. Nothing's going on the moon. Newscasters would say, here's a report of the moon. And that was it. Back to you. There's nothing going on there. There could be something, but there's nothing going on there now. But if there was something there, what would that look like? What would it look like to say, well, there is no country there? And if you're there, you're most likely a scientist or farmer or, just a janitor working in a, I guess, galactic corporation. But all the political stress, all of the crime, the fucking whatever, it would melt away because it's not that important anymore. You would turn to the things in your life and say, a bed is a bed. It's a room to sleep. It's not a room to fucking build another world when there is another world right there. I keep talking about how the indigenous side of me, which is most of me, just keeps fighting this idea of housing and property because you warp the inside of the walls to reflect you, and that should be beautiful, but then it just makes you think, well, the rest of the world is ugly. And in the case of living in America under pollution, yes, it is. But that's not all of it. It's not all of the country. It's not all of the world. And even if it is, then shouldn't you do something about it? Shouldn't you care? I'm one of those people who says, I refuse to let America fuck up the entire globe forever. I'm going to be litigious. I'm going to educate my fellow people. I will guide them. But I have a right as an American citizen in this country to talk about environmental issues. I'm going to continue that conversation, as repetitive and as boring as it may seem, because it's something I'm involved in. I'm involved in the environment. We're like this, we're besties. So I feel inclined to do my part. Even with my PTSD from military sexual trauma and all of these exhausting PTSD triggers, you're not going to derail me from protecting the great American forests that populate my country. This is my land. I'm connected to it. So I'll protect the rights of trees, rabbits, squirrels, foxes, wolves to enjoy the same freedom of property that American citizens enjoy. And you'll like it because your health comes from every single tree in this area breathing for you, living for you, loving you. And one day you will see that. And if not, I'll just continue my podcast. My name is Ian Ileona. I'm an environmentalist, a human rights activist, a mutant, a werewolf, a hero, kind of. I'm a veteran with PTSD from military sexual trauma. I'm a homeless person. I'm a gamer. I hope to see you on the next podcast.